Hey, this is Mark of Gaming Animonda, and here is a video for the F1 2018 Spectator Mode. So we're going to just have a quick look at the options for this. Quite a short video this will be. But for those of you who are veterans to league commentary, or maybe those of you who are joining a league to be a league commentator this season, I hope this will be useful as an overview of the Spectator Mode, which, for all intents and purposes is the same as F1 2017, but it's worth having a look anyway. So, just as it was in F1 2017, press triangle to enable the HUD, and this is what we get. So on the left hand side we get the lists of driver names and the number of laps. In qualifying, of course, you would have the remaining time on the session. Now, one thing I do like that they've done with this is that they've made it look somewhat towards the real HUD, but also they've added the color for the car that the driver is driving, which is very useful. So at a quick glance you can tell someone's in a Ferrari or Williams or McLaren or Mercedes. So that's a nice touch from Codemasters, so really appreciate that. Makes our jobs a little bit easier. We have the F1 2018 logo in the bottom left corner, and now let's have a look at the Spectator menu. Press square and you will get these options appear on the right hand side. So just as it was in the last year's game, press left and right triggers to switch between the drivers. But from the Spectator menu, you can also scroll through drivers individually and press X twice, and it will switch to them automatically. Now, in terms of the options available to us, camera type is the same as last year's game. We have broadcast, which is what you see now, which is, your various TV angles, some of which are really good, and sometimes you get the nice helicopter shot. And then the onboard TV pod. Now, we don't get any of the other camera options available when you're actually driving, like, onboard cockpit, chase view, that sort of thing. So these are the only two camera options you get. And then the gaps, again, exactly the same as F1 2017. You can do the interval, which is the gap between each driver. The leader, which is the gap from the leader to the rest of the drivers. And then also you can see who has done the fastest lap, as here. Now the detail, that's exactly the same as F1 2017, except for one change, which I'll mention in a moment. Position change, you can see who's gained positions from the start of the race and who's lost positions. I think that guy's about to lose a few. Just gone off there. Oh, big crash. And then stops, you can see the number of pit stops that drivers have done during the race. Now the next one is tyre. Now this shows you what tyres the drivers have been on, but what I like about this for F1 2018, it actually shows you the number of laps a driver has been on a particular tyre, so that will be very useful for keeping an eye on strategies as a commentator. So again, Codemasters, really thankful for that. Now what I would have liked to have seen actually is like a warning counter, so hopefully that could be something they could add for F1 2019, because it would be good just to see who's on the verge of a penalty at a glance without having to pause the game or go to the race director in that particular screen. And then your last two options, you've got your telemetry, which shows you, what gear they're in, the speed they're going, the RPM of the engine, the DRS being enabled. But in this year's game, we have ERS, of course, so we can see, the battery power for the particular car. So all very useful information for us. And finally, the lap data, which shows us what tyre they're on, what sector of the track they're in, and their current lap time. Not so useful during the race, but during qualifying, very useful indeed. Now, the final nice thing that Codemasters have done is, unlike F1 2017 when you press triangle, it would simply switch the HUD on and off. In this year's game, you can actually switch off individual elements. So to do that, press square to minimize the spectator menu, then start pressing triangle. So it will remove the spectator menu first of all, so you're left with just the left hand side options. So you can press it again, so you can just have the F1 2018 logo on the screen, and then one more time to remove the HUD entirely to give it a nice cinematic view. So all in all, it's a nice sort of upgrade on last year's Spectator Mode. I think there's still a few things I'd like to see, as I mentioned earlier, a warning counter, but also for qualifying, the ability to sort of compare 2 times or maybe 3 times at the same time during a qualifying session, just as they do in real life. So that'd be great to see direct comparison of lap times, so I haven't switched between drivers. So maybe something to think about for F1 2019 for sure. But I hope this has been a useful video for any of you who wanted to see the new Spectator Mode in F1 2018, and those of you who are sort of new to league commentating. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks very much.